You know how guys love making fun of women for their true crime obsession? You know how dudes always like to be always got something to say about women and they true crime obsession, which is true. The girls do have an unhealthy true crime obsession. That is true. Just like my comfort video is watching a video about a guy who's murdered 27 women and dismembered their bodies and hung them from trees. You know, wow, that's crazy. While like doing their makeup, right? I've stumbled upon true crime, but specifically for boys. Okay, I totally forgot about this, but true crime for boys is, it's not like the guy who used to do the true crime and like police interviews and stuff like that for killers. Not that specifically for boys, okay? Which is rappers' deaths and like deaths between like gang members in the rap community. That shit is literally true crime, but for guys. 100%. I like stumbled across something because I was like, yeah, Tupac true crime a little bit, but there's like I watched a video earlier today because I was just like searching around. I heard something like somebody that I follow was talking about like a rapper who's who had like their case be updated recently, and I was like, what the heck? What happened? I looked into it a little bit. I did some typing. I looked into it a little bit. There's a guy who's like is like an encyclopedia on like American gang culture. He's insane. Like I didn't even know like 90% of these gangs existed. He had like maps for where these gangs hoods are and the relations to other hoods and like the history of that specific gang and like FBI writings on like their language that they use and how they speak. There's this one gang in LA, okay, that apparently next to B's and C's, after every B and after every C, they write a K. So no matter what the word is, they write a K after a B and after a C to signify that that the gang that they're a part of kills the Bloods and kills Crips, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, for one, how do you know that? And then he had like a bunch of like social media posts for examples of these guys and how they specifically used like the crossed out O. It was wild for like, and then he like tied it back to like the murder of like Pop Smoke. It was like, what the fuck? What's going on, man? You ever seen Gangland? No, never. Oh, you like hip hop? Name every gang. Oh yeah, that's what it was. It was PNB Rock. That's right. It was PNB Rock who died the other day. So PNB Rock was another reason not to go to California. California is because like PNB Rock, who was a rapper who's from I think Brooklyn, if I remember, or not Brooklyn. He's from like Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly. And he was like going to get some chicken and waffles in California next to a hood, and then his girlfriend posted an Instagram post about how delicious her chicken and waffles was, and then like instantly a gang showed up, fucking shot him to death, took off his watch, and then ran away. Just like that. It was wild. That's insane to me. They're doing like organized crimes. Apparently, I had no clue about this, but the gangs in like California have gotten, so it's like I don't know. This is like finding out that the ants that have like been crawling into your like pantry and like nibbling on your rice have learned about geometry. You know what I mean? Because like apparently gangs in California, specifically Los Angeles, have gotten to the point where they have like apparatuses to know where they watch. They have like tech departments now where they watch specifically where like all rich people who live in California go, right? They check their social media to figure out whether they're playing, whether they're doing something, if they're out of town, if they're in town. And then what they'll do is they'll wait for like rich people to be out of town, and they'll do research to try to geolocate and triangulate and pinpoint their homes, figure out the homes, then go on places like Zillow or like other like home markets where they find out the floor plan of every single home, and then they like put it down in a list and they make files for people And then one thing happened not too long ago is that there was a football player who was playing across the country in another game, and while he was in the game, they got the floor plan of this man's fucking house, okay? And they snuck in, stole $2 million worth of his stuff, and then absconded just like that. It was wild. It was wild. They like scope out the homes on like the Hollywood Hills, and if you don't have like private security, like the likelihood of your shit getting yoinked is like reasonably high if they know you're out of town, which is wild. So if you're like a singer or something and you're about to go on tour, like there's a high likelihood that your house has been scoped out and there's like multiple gangs that are watching it, right? That was wild. That was wild. Never post anything if you're famous. Apparently, and like also apparently like several Instagram lives have gotten people killed. So while they've started up their Instagram live, like sitting in their car, they've been geolocated by rival gangs who pull up and steal their shit and or kill them. It is or not even gangs, just like gang members who want to steal your stuff. It is wild memes. I mean, that's how X died, right? XXXTentacion. That's how he died, because he made like an Instagram post being like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna be buying a motorbike today, haha." And then they were like, "Damn, he's at like the dealership," and they instantly just pulled up and fucking killed him. Gangs ruin everything. That's true. That's true. That's pretty true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's pretty true. Yeah, dude. That's pretty true. That's true. Really? I didn't know that's how he died. Yeah. He went on Instagram Live and he was like, "I'm gonna be buying a bicycle. I'm gonna be buying I kind of want to buy a motorcycle today, guys." And then they were scoping out his stuff, and then that's how they found him. Yo, this YouTuber sounds interesting. So yeah, maybe do something like that, like true crime. Make a video about true crime but for boys, and it's and it's about like rapper deaths and shit like that. It's possible. Here, what's this guy's name? Let's see if I can find it out. And there's like what's his name? I think this is it. His name is Trap Geek. The video's called Pop Smoke, The Hoovers Meet the Woo. Oh yeah, here it is. We don't need that music. But yeah, here, look at this shit, bro.
In order to understand this story, we gotta go to South Central LA, to Hoover Street. This is a long street from north to south, and is sandwiched in between a bunch of other hoods in South Central.
I didn't even know if this is, there are maps of hoods. There's a hood map. There's a hood map tracker. You can like log on and figure out what hood you're next to. Yeah, this is hood lore. This is unironic hood lore.
Central LA. And historically, the Hoovers began as a Crip faction in the 70s and 80s until this internal war broke out, and the Hoovers started breaking away from the Crip alliance. Now, they started beefing with Crip factions like the Rolling 60s, which is where Nipsey Hussle is from, the Rolling 40s, the Rolling 30s, the 90s, the 100s, the 50s, etc. Now the Hoovers beef with both Bloods and Crips, and as a result, they've become the most hated gang in LA since the late 90s, right? Everybody hates them. And in order to stand out, they gotta be super violent, they gotta be extra reckless, and they also adopted orange colors to distinguish themselves. They changed the C from Hoover Crips to Hoover Criminals, and one of, if not the only Hoover set that remained Crip is the 5 Deuce Hoover Crips that even exported outside of LA, and you'll see them in places like Dallas or Houston with Maxo Cream. Now, fast forward 6.
So this is a it seems like he is a hood lore a hood lore channel. He sounds hype. I did speed this up a little bit, but
6 months after Pop Smoke's death, there was no leads, no witnesses, people were not talking, and Corona was effing up the investigation.
So yeah, and then he goes on to talk about all of this shit that happened, and the people connected, and the gang, it's the specific gang rivalries that could have possibly led to that. It's wild. It is wild stuff. There's a lot of stuff. About to go to findmyhood.com. Oh no, that sounds entertaining. Hoods. So yeah, I thought that was a little wild. I thought that was a little wacky. I just stumbled upon it the other day while I was looking for information about what happened about this guy, because he seemed like he was a perfectly fine guy. Like as far as I know, I've never listened to a PNB Rock song. So I was like, oh man, I didn't have any connection to him like dying or anything, but you know, obviously, people dying is never good. So yeah, this shit is honestly wild. Yeah, like I said, it's true crime, but for boys, hood culture, hood lore. Hood lore videos. America be wildin'. Yeah, but if America wouldn't be wildin', then be honest, we wouldn't have such interesting videos about hood lore. We wouldn't have hood lore videos. And I think, what's this country without hood lore? Let's be honest with ourselves. Not much of a country at all. Don't act like Europeans don't got hood lore. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right.
Just shot at a fellow and took his boots. I customized my rifle like it's 1862. Just scammed a pirate out of his golden tooth. I want to colonize this land, but it's full of Zulus. Just shot at a native and killed him. Bingo. If you don't speak English, you must learn the lingo. If I catch Winston Albans, you better wear a helmet. I keep my royal garments clean. Velvet. You're going to go to Australia if you commit a crime. When I get on the gramophone, I bust a rhyme.
So yeah. European hood culture is quite something else. I must say. I want to colonize this land, but it's full of Zulus. Oh no. Just so you know, the Zulu were like, if I remember correctly, the majority ethnic group in South Africa when the British came. This is something to walk into. Just scammed a pirate out of his golden tooth. I used to have it downloaded and I lost it. I'm getting it back, gamers. Please. It's such a good song. It's such a banger. It's such a banger. UK hood culture is not something to scoff at, okay? Is dangerous.